Hello everyone, I'm JP Lagman, Xero Partner Consultant at Xero Philippines, and I'm happy to welcome you for another topic on our Xero training videos intended for the Xero partners and users in the Philippines. For today's session, we will have Xero conversion training, and we will be doing a demo on how to do the data migration using the tools within the Xero software. And so for this session, our main objective is to provide information to our Xero partners about data migration and conversion to Xero accounting software. So basically, paano natin gagawin ang data migration? We need to have a checklist during or upon conversion. So first on the list, we have the list of tax types that we need to provide. And of course, we need to have the chart of accounts, the accounts receivable subsidiary, the accounts payable subsidiary, of course, the trial balance or the conversion balances, and if we have the inventory list, and that includes all the alphanumeric tax codes that we will be using for withholding taxes, and if we have the list of fixed assets to be or currently in use in the company, so we need that, and of course, the bank statement. So for us to start this demo, I need to key in my login credentials in my Xero account and just click login for me to be able to access the organization. And here, as you notice, it will require me the two-step authentication, wherein I need to enter the authentication code coming from an app that generates the code. There you go. So I have here at the dashboard of this client account. But basically what we will be doing is I'll try to demonstrate on how to create an organization from scratch, and from there how are we going to do the conversion using the data that are available from the client. So in order to do that, we need to click this drop down list from the display name panel, and we choose my Xero. And from here you will see new organization. You just need to click this button for you to be able to add a new organization. So in this case, I will be writing Startup Inc. and the location is in the Philippines. So I do not need to buy it. I just need to create a trial for this one. And so from here, all you just need to do is to set up the initial details of the client. So just click next. So there you go. You have you need to enter or key in the contact details of the client or the company that you are trying to add in this case. So I'll be writing the address here. And if you want to copy this postal address into its physical address, just click copy postal. So the entire details would be copied from there. Then just click next. Okay, dito naman po, makikita natin kung ano yung gamit nating currency, okay, or the base or functional currency that we are using for the Startup Inc. or the company that we are setting up here in Xero. And then we need to confirm the financial year, whether it's a calendar year or a fiscal year. Then we may write the tax basis, let's say for example the cash basis here, and the TIN of the company, let's say 010. So if you notice, I prefer writing it 12 digits, wherein after 3 digits it is separated by hyphen. Okay, so the tax display name, I just write the name of the company here, and the tax period is at least annually. So here I can set up the defaults whether all my sales would be tax exclusive or tax inclusive, the same way with the purchases. So I'll choose tax inclusive here. Okay, just skip the time zone. Okay, and then click next. Alright, for the invoice settings, I do not want to do some editings from there as of the moment. So I just need to skip this step for now. And then I do not want to add yet users in this organization. Okay, just skip this step. And if you won't be using any foreign currency in this organization, you can just leave it for now, and then you may be able to add it anyway in the settings while or when you will be doing transaction using foreign currency in Xero. So click next, and as you notice, Xero in this tax rates, Xero has the recommended tax rates which are currently in use with the chart of accounts. So I leave these 4 items here at the moment, but eventually I will be adding the list of tax types which I will be using in this organization, because I plan to have it, or as part of its registration as a VAT entity, I need to bring back all the tax rates which are applicable for VAT transactions. Okay, so for now I'll just click next. And the chart of accounts, I'll just need to choose what's provided by Xero for now, and then I click next. Okay, with of course no confirmation yet with the account balances, so I just need to click next as well in the chart of accounts. Okay, and then I'll click continue anyway without adding any bank account. I'll be doing that, and I'll be reserving that using the conversion toolbox, okay, which I will be discussing later this session. Alright, so for the conversion date, my suggestion is always choose the beginning of the financial year, which in this case, for the conversion balances, you need to have December 31, 2019, and I am using, or the conversion date that I set up here is January 2020. So even though you are to use Xero in the middle of the year, I would suggest that you still use in the beginning of the financial year as your conversion date. Then click next. Alright, so I won't be adding any conversion balance yet at this point. Okay, and then I'll just click next to finish the setup. Okay, so once it's complete, and then I'll just click finish. Alright, so there you go. Your Startup Inc. Okay, has now been created. Okay, for us to do the necessary details that need to be entered in this case. Alright, so in our scenario here, basically, I will be providing you based on the list that I have mentioned to you earlier. We have the list that we need to provide in order for us to do the conversion. So some of which we have the tax types, and of course we have the invoice, which are for accounts receivable, the bills, which are for AP, or accounts payable conversion, and of course we have there the chart of accounts, okay, the template, wherein here I have included already the balances that I'll be using, or the trial balance that I'll be using upon conversion. And then of course I have here the list of inventory which I be using, especially for the tax codes for my withholding taxes. And then of course I have there the fixed assets which I will be trying to import in this organization. So these are the files that I will be using for the conversion of this particular organization. And so to start with the conversion, I am using here the conversion toolbox. Okay, so you have there conversion toolbox, or the URL conversiontoolbox.xero.com. Okay, so this will be for the first time user. You just need to sign up, okay, in this conversion toolbox, which will likely help you, especially in the data migration of your client organization when they are trying to migrate into Xero. Okay, so here, okay, I'll just click login since I have already created my account here, and then all I have to do once I sign in, okay, I just need to connect it into my Xero account in order for me to select the particular organization which I am trying to convert in Xero. Okay, so if you notice, I have there the Startup Inc., wherein this is the organization that we are trying to migrate the information to Xero. And then just click allow access for 30 minutes. Okay, and there you go. If you notice, I have a list of the transactions that I can create from this conversion toolbox that will eventually be reflected in the Startup Inc. regular Xero account. Okay, so in my case, okay, I am using this following sequence when I do the importing. I'll first choose import tax rates, and then I'll import invoices. Then the next thing is I need to import the chart of accounts, and then lastly would be the conversion balances. So basically, apat yung gagamitin ko in the conversion toolbox, okay, when doing the conversion going to Xero. So to start with, I'll click import tax rates here. Okay, and then of course there is a CSV file template that you will be required to fill up in this case. Okay, and in mine I have already my list of tax rates that I am using, or I will be using for Startup Inc. So basically this is my CSV template file. Okay, so if you notice, okay, I have around 22 tax rates that I'll need to import into Startup Inc. using this template. Okay, so I just need to select this file. Okay, so I'll choose tax types. Okay, remember these are all in CSV, and then I'll click open. Okay, so a little mapping that you need to have to start the conversion. Alright, so from here I'll just select here the name. Okay, the tax component would be for the component name, and the tax rate would be for the component rate. Okay, so that is what we call the mapping. Okay, in order for us to match what is in the file and what is the conversion toolbox is asking for us to match. Okay, so to click next step. Okay, so I have there 22 tax rates which are to be imported. Okay, I'll click next step for the finalization of this tax rates from conversion going to Xero. Alright, so remember earlier we have 4 which are currently imported or currently available in my regular Xero account. So if I'll select show details, so it will show me those items which are not to be imported. Okay, these are some errors that is reflected here. It's basically these are already reflected in my regular Xero account, so they would be changed in that case. Okay, so I'll just click finish. So the 18 items will be imported still. Okay, now when I go back to the Startup Inc. regular Xero account, and I'll click accounting and then advanced, where I can check the tax rates available for this organization. Okay, so under advanced settings, you have there the tax rates. Okay, remember earlier we only have 4, but due to the conversion, I have already the list of the tax rates, and in this case I have some tax rates which are for applicable VAT transactions. Okay, so I'll go back to the conversion. Okay, so we're done with this tax rates. Next for us to import, I suggest would be the chart of accounts. So in the conversion toolbox, you just need to click import chart of accounts. Okay, and then click this button, and then click next step for the mapping. Okay, and then of course it will be asking you for the CSV file for us to upload. Now in this case, I would like to show the template of my chart of accounts. Okay, so basically I use the chart of accounts in Xero, but if you notice, I have added here already the debit and credit balances of each account of this organization that I will be using for me to use the same template in the conversion balances. Okay, so I advise you to do that as well for you to be able to have the same template which will be useful in terms of the chart of accounts and the conversion balances. Okay, so you notice here that I have a bank type or account type which is bank. Okay, for the bank account name, the business bank account, and I have already inserted an account code for this account. So this will be also useful, especially when you are trying to import invoices and bills that might have some payment portions along these transactions. So this would be the template that I will be using. So I'll click CSV template file, this one. I'll click open. Okay, and then I'll start the conversion. Alright, so from here, I won't be adding yet the balances for these two, for the debit and credit. So I'll just choose them as it is, the available fields in my CSV template file. Alright, so I'll choose the tax types. For now, I'll just use tax exempt. Okay, so this one, if you notice, the inventory file has not been mapped yet. So I'll just choose current asset for now. And then I'll click next step. Alright, for this bank account number, you can just write the actual account number or even Xero will do. Okay, so for this one, I'll just choose asset, current asset, and I'll select bank account for the mapping. Okay, so bank fee as an expense. Okay, and the other items that do not have yet the mapping, so I'll just need to make sure that these are all categorized into a particular account type that they belong. So if I have completed all, then I'll just click next step. Alright, so there you go. I just need to confirm that I wish to proceed for this transaction, and just click next step. Alright, so once confirmed, just click finish. So that's how we add the chart of accounts. So remember, you need to go back in order for you to validate whether they are completely imported or converted from the conversion toolbox going to Xero. So this now has been added. Okay, go back to the dashboard. Okay, there you go, and the bank account has been added as well. Now going back to the conversion toolbox, we may now need to import the invoices. So I'll just click import invoices here. So remember, importing invoices in the conversion toolbox may come into two ways. And one would be importing of the sales invoices outstanding, and the other one would be for the bills which are outstanding during conversion. So I'll start with the invoices first. Okay, so I'll try to select the CSV file to upload. Okay, so I'll just choose here invoice import template conversion, and then I'll click open. Now for you to have an idea on how it looks like, so I'll just need to open the file, okay, in order for you to fully understand and fully aware of the details that you might want to have, okay, when you are using this import template. So if you have been using the sales invoice import template in Xero, this is quite different from that template, because basically here in this conversion template, you may be able to add any payment details, okay, that corresponds to the settlement of each invoice. Okay. So as you notice, for this transaction, I have one invoice here, invoice 200, which is dated December 12, 2019 and has a due date of January 12 of 2020. And the rest would be a monthly invoice for a particular customer. Now, with these certain details for the payment, if you are going to read this, and basically Xero would have the reading of this template for the sample customer, okay, since it is not yet paid as of December 2019, then the 250,000 will likely be the conversion balance that we expect to match, okay, especially in our trial balance at year end. So if I'm going back to the chart of accounts, and in the debit and credit portion here, okay, remember I mentioned that the accounts receivable and accounts payables being the system accounts in Xero, okay, once you entered balances from these accounts, okay, Xero will require you to substantiate or to support that balance based on the outstanding invoices or bills, okay, that you will be importing in order for you to match this particular amount. So in this case, 250,000 is actually matched with this 250,000, being this one has been paid only at January 3 of 2020. So I'll be using this import template file. So here in the import invoices, I'll start the conversion. Alright, so I'm choosing here sales invoices and then click next step. Okay, so in this case, since I have some payment transactions along with the invoices, I want to choose approve and approve with payment already once I do the importing. Okay, click next step and do certain mapping for those fields which are not yet being mapped. So for exchange rate, I'll choose exchange rate here. For line description, I'll choose line description. Okay, and then click next step. Alright, so for now, for the meantime, I will be using tax exempt for the transaction. Okay. Alright, so there you go, just a confirmation of the account code that has been used for each transaction in the invoices. Okay, I'll click next step. Remember, when you are using the template, if you are asked for a code, just simply write the code and do not write the entire account title. So this is the preview, okay, with 3 payments that will be imported as I have shown you in the CSV file. I'll click next step. Alright, so there will be no more errors, so I'll just click finish. Alright, there you go. So if I'm now going back again to the regular Xero account, I'll click business and then invoices. Okay, you will see there all the transactions that I have imported with some of these transactions that has been paid, and even this one has been partially paid. Okay, so these are all imported using the conversion toolbox. Okay, so now since we have some bills to import, I'll click again, and going back to the conversion toolbox, I'll click again import invoices and click the CSV file. This time I'll be choosing bills, and then I'll click open. Okay, almost the same with the invoicing or invoice mapping. Okay, so an almost similar template that you will be using, but this time I'll be choosing purchase invoices. Okay, and then I'll click next step. Okay. By the way, the bills that I need to import has these following details. Okay, as I was mentioning, okay, this has a similar pro forma with the invoice template that we have earlier. Okay, so this line would be for column for the account codes, okay, the invoice number, and even here for this particular bill, so it's dated December 20 of 2019 and payable on January 20, 2020. Okay, and it has been paid on January 2020, meaning this is outstanding as of December 2019. So this 112 would likely be the ending balance as of year end. Okay, and this has been paid the following year. So Xero will read this one, and this should match with the conversion balance when we try to import our trial balance in Xero. Okay, so basically that's a template. Okay, so I go back to the conversion. Alright, so I'll click again approve and approve with payment since I have some payment transactions along with the bills. I'll click next step. Okay, again for this one, just do several mapping. Okay, for some of the items which are not yet mapped. Then click next step. Alright, so I'll just choose the same tax type. Alright, so confirmation of the account codes that has been used for the bills. Okay, so this would be the preview. If you want to show the details, just click show details here. Okay, but if they are in green, meaning there are no errors prompted by the system, so I'll just click next step. Alright, so there you go. I just need to complete the importing of these bills. Okay, so once it's done, you need to go back and to recheck under business or bills to pay if the list is there and if they are complete. Okay, so they are, and accordingly the payment has been posted as well to the individual bills as they are intended to. Okay, so that is for our invoicing and bills uploading via conversion toolbox. Alright, and so we are done with the importing of the tax rates, the importing of the chart of accounts, and the importing of the invoices and bills using the conversion toolbox. We now move to the conversion balances here, which is the last item that I will be using conversion toolbox in this case for me to be able to have the startup ink started to be used. Okay. So I'll just click conversion balance. So remember I choose or I use the chart of accounts, okay, that has the debit and credit balances with them or for each account. Okay, and I'll be using the same file for me to do the conversion balances via this toolbox. Okay, so I'll just choose the CSV file, and then I'll choose the same template for the chart of accounts earlier as mentioned. Okay, so this would be our trial balance. I'll start the conversion, and then from here, okay, we use there could be a confirmation if you are using one amount column, wherein for the one amount column you have the balances column, and all the positive figure would be considered debit, and for those which has a negative amount would be considered credit. But in this case, I am using the debit and credit columns, okay, from my chart of accounts. Okay, so from here, I am okay with this fields mapping. Right, I just click next step. Remember to match again the details from our accounts payable and accounts receivable, because that would really some sort of an issue if they are not matched with the opening balances, okay, once we do the conversion. Okay, so I think okay, let me just click this an asset. Okay, and then you'll just do the confirmation based on this mapping. These are the balances that has been read based on the file. Okay, so if you notice, you have there some other items that do not have balance, they would still be included. Okay, so I'll just click next step here. Alright, so the conversion balance here, as we have during the setup, I choose January 2020, even though in our case here, I will be starting to use Xero in the middle of the year. Okay, so I plan to start it by April in case, or for example, and I have already my files uploaded based on the invoices, and in this case, I just need to confirm that the opening balances that I expect to have in my conversion would be at January 1, 2020. So the balances ending December 31, 2019, okay, would likely be the balances that I am trying to import using these conversion balances in the conversion toolbox. So I'll just need to confirm, click next step. Alright, so new accounts will be created. Since basically we are using the same chart of accounts. That's one thing that is helpful, as I was saying earlier. If you use the same chart of accounts, then likely during the conversion balances, it will minimize some errors for you when you are doing the importing of the trial balance. So just click next step. Alright, so there you go. I have 54 balances that were imported. Again, basically no errors has been detected. I'll just click finish. Alright, so there you go. If I need to recheck the conversion balance, I go to accounting, then I'll go to advanced, and then I'll click conversion balances. Okay, and it will show the balances accordingly, okay, based on what we have imported from the conversion toolbox. Okay, so that's for the conversion balances. Okay, so next on our list would be the importing of the products and services in Xero. But instead of adding inventory items in Xero, if the company or the organization is in trading, okay, for these products and services importing, it would be for the alphanumeric tax codes that an organization might be using in case there are transactions, especially for purchases, that may be subjected into withholding tax or deduction of withholding tax. Therefore, we need to import the file. Okay, I'll just need to show you the list of the ATC codes. Okay, so for example, you have there the alphanumeric tax codes with the description, okay, and the corresponding rates. Okay, so this is very useful, especially when you try to do transactions, okay, again, that may be involving withholding tax in the organization. So from here, I just click import, okay, and then click items. Alright, and downloading the template file, okay, will likely proceed you to the
CSV file that I have shown you earlier. Therefore, since I have already the file in my computer, so I just need to select browse, and then I just choose inventory items, and then click open, right? And then I just click continue. Right, so there you go. Since the file has no errors, okay, I can just simply complete the import based on the CSV file that has been imported. Okay, so that's how simple importing the items, okay, the ATCs, okay, that we might be using along with our future transactions, especially for the bills transactions. Okay, so there you go. That's how we add the products and services or the inventory items, particularly ATC. Alright, so next on our importing list would be the fixed assets. So to access fixed assets, okay, we go to accounting, and then we go to the fixed assets right down below. And before we could start the initial importing of the file, we must first to choose a start date in the fixed assets. Okay, so in this case, we have an option. Okay, so this is the good thing why we need to start the conversion balances always at the beginning of the financial year, since the depreciation will likely be using the start date, okay, via that conversion date as well. So I'll click January 1, 2020, okay, and then I'll just click save. Okay, so if you notice, I do not have yet the list of assets. Okay, so there are two considerations that you need to take when doing the fixed asset importing. Okay, so first would be based on the chart of accounts. You make sure that the asset listed there are fixed assets and with the corresponding balances, or if they have the corresponding balances, then we might as well need to pick up those balances, okay, according to the information, okay, or based on the account type or account title that they are presented based on the trial balance. Okay, so in this case, I have my fixed assets CSV file here. Okay, so remember, in any CSV file template, okay, all the items or headers that have an asterisk with them must be filled up. Okay, they must not be left in blank, because that will create probably an error when it comes to the importing. So I have written here the asset name, okay, with the corresponding asset type. And so here I have the purchase price as listed, and it's matched with the trial balance that I have. Okay, so I have here purchase date at 2019. Okay, and then with the details of a straight line method of depreciation using a full month method. Okay, and then the effective life in 5 years, and then of course I have here the opening book accumulated depreciation. Of course, as I mentioned, it should match with our trial balance. Okay, so there you go. Basically, these fixed assets, okay, must be imported and in line with the details along with the conversion. So from here, okay, I'll start first to set up the settings. Okay, basically it doesn't have any details yet, so I need to map, okay, the asset types which are to be used for this organization. So I'll just click settings. Okay, so I need to add an asset type, and asset type should likewise be matched, okay, to this asset type column here. Okay, and with the corresponding details that I need to have, okay, when especially when I will be doing the depreciation via Xero. So I click new asset type here, okay, and then I'll just write. Okay, if you don't want to create to have an error, okay, you can just copy and paste it. Okay, so since this would be some sort of maybe case sensitive in that case, so it would be safer, okay, for you to just copy and paste according to the CSV file. Okay, so here you just need to map whether it will be on what account. Okay, this would be recorded. So this would be for office equipment in the asset account, and in the accumulated depreciation, I'll just choose this account title. And for the depreciation, since I only have one account for depreciation, I'm okay in choosing this account. And then for the depreciation method, okay, I'll just choose straight line here. Okay, and then I'm using full month, and then I'll choose effective life, which is 5 years. Okay, for office equipment. Okay, so anything that's been purchased as office equipment can use the same details, okay, from this asset settings. I click save. Okay, and then I need to add another asset type. Okay, and in this case, I'll be copying computer equipment. So basically, these are the classification of your fixed assets. Okay, so depending on how many fixed assets you have in the organization that you are trying to import. Okay, so here I just choose the corresponding accumulated depreciation account, put 721, and for the depreciation it will be 416. Okay, the depreciation method, I'll choose straight line, average full month method, and then effective life 5 years as well. Okay, and then I'll just click save. Right, so once the asset types are there, okay, that's the time you may be able to import your fixed assets. Okay, so if I'll click here, import. Okay, and then the download template file would be likely similar to this one. So since this is already filled up with the details, okay, I just need to, okay, first select. I'm used to do it day month here. Okay, so it must be, of course, must correspond to the details based on what you have listed on your CSV file. Okay, and then just click browse and choose the file, click open, and then click continue. Alright, so 2 rows are ready to be imported. Just confirm. Okay, there you go. These are still in draft. Okay, remember, only those assets which are registered, okay, can be used for or subjected into depreciation. So in this case, because I'm okay with the details, I just click all and then click register. Okay, just a confirmation, then register the assets. Okay, so there you go. This will now be moved to the registered assets. Okay, now since I will be starting April in my books, okay, I might want to run the depreciation from January to March. In that case, for it to be matched accordingly, when I first use Xero from April, I just click then run depreciation. Okay, and then I may be able to choose on what particular month I will be doing the depreciation. So in this case, I try to depreciate it until March. So as for me to start it in April, this will all be updated accordingly. So I'll just click confirm. There you go. So in a matter of a snap, okay, this has these registered assets, okay, has been updated accordingly, okay, based on the depreciation that we have posted. Okay, so that is how we do the fixed assets in Xero. Okay, the importing and of course the running of the depreciation. And so last on our importing list would be the importing of the bank statement. Okay, so especially if we do not have bank feed in our organization that has been linked with the corresponding bank account. So basically what we have as an option would be the importing of the bank statement. Now, in order for us to do that, we go to the dashboard and we must select the bank account that needs importing of the bank statement. Okay, so remember our scenario here is that I will be starting using Xero on April 1. Therefore, I have transactions that might have been posted in the bank, okay, prior to my official usage of my Xero account, okay, in this organization. So remember earlier I have my invoices with me that has been imported, okay, that have corresponding collections, and this with corresponding dates. And also we have some bills, okay, wherein in this case I have some payments made, okay, on this particular dates as well. Okay, so in that case, okay, when I do the importing of the bank statement, in order for me to update the balances here, okay, I just need to click import a bank statement. Okay, so here you have to download the CSV template file. Okay, so in my case, I have already filled up, okay, this would be the template file with two headers, the date and the amount as the mandatory fields, okay, and I have already listed the transactions here, okay, according to basically on how they are listed in your bank statement. Okay, you just need to recreate it, okay, in a way that it will be readable, okay, in when you do the importing of this bank file. Okay, so I have listed there the date using the day, month, year format, okay, with this corresponding amount, which are basically coming from the transactions in my bills and invoices earlier uploaded, okay, with the corresponding description. So see how it's being done doing the import. So I just need to browse and look for the file. Okay, so that's import or statement import template file. I just click open, and then I click import here. Okay, so for first time uploading, I mean, so we need to map certain details here in order for the system to be able to read it according to your preference. So in this case, so we have the date. Okay, so it's dated January 3, which I confirm based on this preview, January 3, 2020. Okay, with the corresponding amount, so this would be for the transaction amount. I have not entered a pay in here. Okay, and the description I'll choose, or I have written here the corresponding description, but for this case I'll choose reference. Okay, for some reason reference is quite searchable anywhere in Xero. Therefore, if you need to do some searching over some transactions, you may want to have them, okay, as a reference. So you can just type them anywhere in Xero as a search for to do some searching. Okay, that's why I also select here the reference for instead of the description. Okay, so in that case I am okay with the details, so I just click save. Okay, so this would be the confirmation that there were no duplicates in the statement lines, so I just click OK. Alright, so there you go. Now, since in Xero there are already transactions, okay, which are already posted based on our conversion earlier, okay, that we have conducted. Okay, so basically Xero matches based this transaction, okay, accordingly. So the first hierarchy would be based on the amount. Okay, so if you want to see the details, okay, you just need to click find and match in order for you to ascertain that this would be for the transaction that you really want to have. Okay, so in this case, if you want to select for the details, you may want to dig it deeper. Okay, and this is for invoice 200, and this is for invoice 200 as well. So probably this would be the transaction that I am referring. So basically these are the bank statement lines that we have imported, and these are the transactions which are already in our books. Okay, so basically I just need to click for it to be reconciled. Okay, and all the rest I think they should be fine. Okay, based or according to the CSV template already imported as well with the invoices and bills. Okay, so this might as well be the corresponding transactions that I am referring, okay, in this particular bank reconciliation. So I'll just click OK on all of those. Okay, so once it's balanced, there you go. So the statement now has been updated into 405 as of Feb 5, but certainly if there were no transactions after Feb 5 until March 31, then you're free to go and to start your transactions, okay, using Xero come April 1 of the current year.
That's it for this session, and see you again next time for more Xero training videos and updates. Thank you very much and mabuhay po kayo.